4 of them is in the end of Quran, and 1 of them is Surah Al-Jinn. Okay, there are like about 227, around 227 quls are in Quran. That in different parts of Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal tells Rasulullah, qul, say to people. Okay. So it's also remembering the fact that when we are having this charqul, it is a proof of authenticity of Quran itself. Because where do you have a book that someone, when you read it, it says that someone has said to this prophet to say, qul, order this person, is ordering the prophet to say. So if it was from prophet and he was writing it himself, he would not say qul to himself, right? He would just do or write whatever that it is to the people. Okay, do it this way, do it that way. You don't have a second party telling Rasulullah qul. Because we have so many of these quls, in the whole parts of the Quran. So that's one of the evidence that this book is from Almighty Allah and is dictating it to Rasulullah through the Jibreel alayhi salam. So just something about qul, okay, say, and narrate basically. Or like also qul is also more than just say. It means to relate. If you want to put it in English, relate, expose the people to this knowledge, to this. And you may know, do you know anything better in English translation that?
I'm sorry, the big problem in my life is that.
Okay, say it in Arabic, and I translate if you wanted to add.
To say?
About the qul.
The meaning.
About the meaning of the qul.
Qul means say.
Say, okay.
But some of qul to Rasulullah, some of qul to the other. But all of them coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Rasulullah.
Right, mashallah. So now let's see about these 4 qul in the end of the Quran. Surah Al Naas, as we all are familiar and we recited in our prayers, as it is known as a internal chapter of Quran. Meaning internal means that it touches your inner aspects. The Surah Al Falaq, it is more outward protection. Let's say the Surah Al Naas is your protection and reminder of how to protect yourself inside of your mind and inside of your soul and inside of your nafs. The Surah Falaq is more against all the things that it can come to you from outside of you. Okay? And then Surah Al-Ikhlas, it is designed for confession to the unity of Allah and focus on the Tawheed and aspects of Almighty Allah. And Kafirun comes again against what? All of the people who they want to turn you from what your belief system is to other. And this, when you recite it, and that's the way that you see that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah taught him to respond to all the others who they wanted. Because again, we have many places in Quran that Allah Azza wa Jal teaches us that they're not going to leave you alone until that they turn you to their religion. Okay? And they're not going to be following you. Okay? So there are 4 of these quls that they are called A'udhu bi Rabbil Nas, Malik Nas, Ilahin Nas. So that let's start with the Surah Nas, which is from the end of Quran and going back. So A'udhu Billah Minash Shaitanir Rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Qul A'udhu bi Rabbil Nas, Malikin Nas, Ilahin Nas, Min Sharril Waswasil Khannas, Alladhi Yuwaswisu Fi Sudurin Nas, Min Al-Jannati Wal Nas. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim. as we talked about, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, there are three. We see that Allah Azza wa Jal is teaching us that say or relate that I seek refuge, I seek refuge to قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Rabb is the very important attribute of Allah Azza wa Jal. Many of us, we think that when the prophets of Allah came to mankind, they came to teach the people to worship God. But we see that that's not the case. All of the people in the world, in different history of mankind, when the prophets came, they were already worshiping some God or some sort. So the mission of the Anbiya was not so much to come and tell people to worship God, but they were worshiping the wrong gods. And because they were worshiping the wrong gods, they were creating for themselves lifestyles, okay, or behaviors which was not just. You see? Because in many parts of the Quran, we said, for example, in the Surah Al Hadid, we learn لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَرْسَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسَ بِالْقِسْطِ. Okay? That means that we sent our Anbiya, we sent the prophets of God to mankind with the clear signs. And we sent down with them books that they be teaching the people. And so that they establish what? Justice. Okay? You see, when there is no justice, there is no growth. Because injustice stops the growth of mankind. See, what the justice means here, and I don't want to really branch off really here, but it is, I'm going to go back to the Rabb, is that the mission of Anbiya was to establish, inform people to, in the right way, have right concept of Allah, and since they bring them to the right understanding and concepts of God Almighty, and then say, okay then, now that you have right understanding, look, this Allah, this God is teaching you because He has created you, and He is also your teacher and your guide, so learn from Him so that you grow in this path that He has been created you for. And He has instructed you, follow this instruction so that you be prosper. Then you will be prosper in this world, and you will be prosper in the hereafter. But when Anbiya, they have come, they have faced this situation that the people were worshipping different things. So for example, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will see in the Quran, excuse me, that if someone can give me some water, I should really appreciate it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Thank you, brother. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You will see that when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came in Mecca, and Allah chose him as the Prophet of God, when Quran is asking, ask them or tell them, who has created the heavens and earth? And they say, Allah. So who is feeding you? You know, who is doing this? Who is doing that? Who has created this? Who has created that? Allah, Allah. They say Allah. So did Rasulullah had to come and teach him that about Allah? No. They already knew Allah. Many of the prophets, like Hazrat Ibrahim and all of the Anbiya, when they came to their own tribes, they already were worshipping an Allah. Do you think that Hazrat Musa, when he came to Pharaoh, didn't they have God? They already believed in God. Pharaoh was considering himself as God. Okay? Because he says to the magicians, who told you to believe before I order you, before I allow you? He even controls the minds. And he said, I am your Lord. Ana Rabbuka al-A'la. I am your great Lord, your Rabb. So the mission of Anbiya was not really to teach people to worship God, but bring them to understand who is the right God, worthy of worship, and worthy of really learning lessons. What's that to us? What's that to us? We also have to become to this belief that who is our Rabb. Because, brothers and sisters, yeah, we may not have Pharaoh, we may not have idols, but we have our boss, for example. That every day we have to be on time. If I don't be on time, if I don't do this, it's going to give me the salary, or it's going to do this, and my incentives, and this and that. And if I consider this person as the one who is giving me the rizq, okay, and I'm trying to satisfy him and breaking all the rules that Allah has given me just to satisfy this guy, then who is truly my Rabb? My boss is my Rabb. Why should I fool myself? And I say, oh Allah, Ya Allah, Rabbana, Atina. Say, oh my boss, Atina. You see? So we have to see who, me and you, in our life, we are obeying. That is our Lord. That is our God. Bottom line. It's very simple. Sometimes we fool ourselves. Sometimes we say things in our tongue, but our heart believes in different. So we're in the state of hypocrisy and nifaq. So we have to be in a state of ikhlas, which means be pure in heart, in tongue, in regards to Allah is our Lord. So Rabb said, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِالرَّبِّ النَّاسِ. That I know that this Rabb is my creator, my sustainer, my guide. He has sent me guidance, He has sent me prophet. And when we say guidance, it's not that just saying in the book. No. He has sent the book. He has sent the messenger to show us how to operate this book. It's like a surgeon. I was making an example of the other day. He did not come and give us a book of surgery. He said that, okay, there's this body on the table, and here's this book. Go and operate. So that you open this thick, huge book, and he said, okay, it says to do this, okay, and oh my God, what am I going to do? Touch the flesh with this knife, I'm going to do something wrong. I'm going to kill this person or something. No. He has sent us a surgeon. He has sent the surgeon to teach us and show us and hold our hands to how to do the surgery. It's that accurate. So when you say hidayah, or the guidance in the Arabic, it is not to just the guidance by sending a book. It is sending the book. Show how to do it, how to operate with it. And that's why we need what? Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay. So Rabb wal a'uzu bil Rabb al-Nas. Then we have Malik. Malik al-Nas. The king and the Lord and the owner. You know, because again, brothers, what do we own ourselves, really? What do we own? All of this creation, all of what we have is from Allah. Allah is the owner of all creation. What we have is something which has been lent to us. Something that is amana. Our life, our time on this earth, our creation, our bodies, our soul is nothing but a amana. It's been lent to us. This is temporarily has been given to us, and our return is to Allah to give it back to Allah. When you say even if our body is buried under the ground, okay, or our soul goes to the next level, either way, it all goes back into the system of Allah. And we just have been a rider for a while to be tested for our actions. That's basically it. So the ones who they smoke, or the ones who they somehow they are hurting this physical body in any way, or abusing it, they have to answer Allah, because they are damaging Allah's goods. Okay? If we are taking advantage of our parts of our body, our eyes, our ears, any parts, in a wrongful way, the way that Allah is not allowed us, or we are showing it the way that Allah does not want it to be seen by non-mahram or whatever, then we have to answer Allah for those. Okay? So we have to be very careful that Allah is the Malik of all wealth that is in this world, in all of what we have. He is in control, and He is the Malik, and He is the King, and He is the one who is in power. Inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Okay? And He is the owner of all things. So you have the Rabb, you have the Malik, and then what? قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. And He is the God of people. In many, in some of Dr. Shariati's writings, he compares the Rabb, you say that Rabb, he said they're always in the world, they have been like a triangle of what they call the taslis, of power, wealth, okay, and hypocrisy. Okay? Hypocrisy means religion. Because look, we all have, remember I gave in a speech before I went 2 weeks ago, that our inner aspects in regards to what? In the city of our nafs, there are certain powers in charge, right? One minister of the economy, one minister of defense, remember? And one was the minister of planning and all that stuff. I mean, if the Agha or the intellect is not in power, then the city is not in balance, correct? So, wealth, power, and religion, okay? Because our body requires sustenance. Our ego, right, needs also titles and power. So that's the power part. And then that's also the ego part, the sustenance part, which is that we're trying to survive. So we need to have wealth, power. These are the wealth and power are the two things that actually people or the tyrants or whoever that they always were in this world, they loved so much. The other one is using, because we as human beings, we need to have bodily nourishment, and we have what? Spiritual nourishment. It is in our fitra, it is in our essence as we are created, that it's in our soul to worship an entity which is beyond us. It is with our essence, which is embedded in our fitra. You know what I mean by fitra? Fitra means the essence of our soul, which is created in every human being. Every human being is born, has a body and a soul. These two entities, they need feeding. Okay? They need to be fed. As just like your food that you eat for your body, and the drink you drink for body and the rest, that soul also needs food. From the very beginning of mankind, the shamans of the tribes or the magicians or different people, they realized that the people have these needs, and they started creating what? False religions and different type of things to keep the people busy. Some of them had so much superstitions, but again, it was keeping the people busy to kill animals, to sacrifice, do lots of things that they were doing. So when the human being understood that also there is something inside that it needs to be fulfilled, which is the food for soul, then they started teaching wrong philosophies and wrong religions, and teaching about wrong gods, or create even religions and gods. And then you see that the people, Allah Azza wa Jal sends what? 124,000 prophets of God to all different tribes of man as we know of. Okay? And there has not been a tribe of man in the world that Allah has not sent a Nabi. And all of them, they did not try to come and turn these people to worship God. But they have tried to help them to worship the right God. Okay? So, you see three entities. Rabb, Malik, and Ilah. Okay? Pharaoh in this time, he says, I am the Ilah. And you have his head of the army, okay, and you have the Aaron, okay, as the wealth, symbol of wealth in his system. So when we say in the surah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, we are seek refuge to go to the Lord of people, the owner and the king of the people, to God of the people, min sharril waswasil khannas. Now we come to an entity which Allah has created, which has allowed him himself, Allah, to live and stay in this world. And as Rasulullah mentioned and taught us, that this entity can be running into your bodies just like the blood is running into our veins. Rasulullah said that the shaitan is an entity that it is running inside of you just like the blood is running in your veins. One time Rasulullah he was teaching the people, and he said that for all men, for every man, there is shaitan, and shaitan is working in them. Then one of the people, Ashab, asked, Ya Rasulullah, do you have a shaitan also? He said, of course I have a shaitan. I have also a shaitan, but I have tamed him. He is in chain. Okay, that means that shaitan does not affect me. I have put him in chain. But every human being, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a human being. And Allah Azza wa Jal has created the shaitan, of course, has allowed him, let me put it this way. Allah has created the shaitan. But it was the shaitan's choice, as we learn inshallah, as we read more Quran, that he chose to not to bow to mankind. And he says, I am better, and he became arrogant. And that's why that he lost his honor and dignity that he had with Allah. Because he was very close, one of the very close entities to Allah. For more than 70,000 years has been in worship of Allah, Iblis. But then he lost it because Allah Azza wa Jal knew that a certain arrogance is developing within him. And anything that Allah, look guys, if there's this beautiful poetry which I don't want to really get into it at the moment, but it says that the shaitan for 70,000 years was in worship of Allah. Allah felt that arrogance is coming within his heart. One of the scenario that he created in front of him was a human being, not just because he wanted to see what's inside of him out, but as Allah created man and a woman, Adam and Eve, and asked all the angels to bow, including of course Satan, who was among the angels, and all they bowed except him. This is how he exposed his arrogance which was within him in action. You see, Allah is not going to punish. Allah is so merciful that if we have certain things that it goes in us, until that it does not come out, He does not count against us. Okay? He's just based on His mercy. But a person like that, he's becoming so close to Allah. Look at Hazrat Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These are his nights, right? Look at what does he do, Allah Azza wa Jalla. What does he bring to Imam Hussein alayhi salam? Is there anyone in the world besides Zainab and Hussein, as we call Zainab Ummul Masa'ib, right? Ummul Masa'ib, the mother of calamities. Is there a woman in the world who has seen what Zainab has seen? From the very beginning of seeing his grandfather and then his father to be shaheed and his brother Imam Hassan. And look at all the family in the Karbala, one after another. And Hussein alayhi salam, her mother. Exactly. And look at in what way, breaking the door of Hazrat Fatima, dishonoring the Ahl Bayt. All of those. And she has seen all of those. But look how strong she stands when he's asked, okay, what did you see in Karbala? He said that, La ra'ayta illa jamila. I did not see except beauty. Or Imam Hussein himself. Look at how they respond to the tests of Allah, and they win. And they become, their names become eternal in the surfaces of the paradise, and in Allah proudly will say to angels, now you know why I told you to bow to man, because this is the man, this is the woman who I wanted you to see that they become to this level, you see. But look at that shaitan, how did he fall? How did he fail with all of those 70,000 years of worship? Arrogance created. Do you see any arrogance in any of the sayings of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? After he's losing every one of the arrow comes, cut his jugular vein. He puts his hands, and they're there. Holds the blood. Elahi rezan berezawek. It's more. It's like that he's doing ghusl and wudu with his own blood. His face is, you know. He's completely satisfied with Allah is bringing. What, you want me this? I'm here. You want all my children? You got it. Not that Allah wants this. But this is what every individual chose so that they reach the highest obedience to Allah. But shaitan in the beginning failed after all that. So the poet says, oh man, oh brother, oh sister, don't you ever be so proud of your prayers and your fasts and your du'as or your majalis. Don't be proud. Because that pride will create arrogance that, oh God, you know, I'm somebody. I'm good. Oh brother Ali, look, you know, there are certain people, listen, how many people? 70, 80, 100, 2,000. Look at the square is full of people. Arrogance, if it is developed, it destroys you from within. And if even it's shaitan for all those years of worship, we fail. That's why the Rasul Akram, that's why Imams of Ahl Bayt, night and day, they are bowing in the sujda, they are in prayer, they are in istighfar. Not that they have committed any sin, but they always feel that they are coming short in obedience to Allah, in what Allah, as what they see. As they see more details, it's like that someone with microscope, seeing details to compare to me with no glasses. I see blurry. If they put this certain number of things in my hand, is there something in your hand? No. But I put the glasses on, oh no, I see something. And then now I put a magnifying glass. Oh, now I see more. Wow, okay, there are 10 of them. Then I put a microscope. Oh my God, there are thousands of them. So, Anbiya and Awsiya, they see with that level of magnitude, of magnification. Even though there is nothing, but they see to that many levels, that's why that they don't want the shaitan and the arrogance ever come any closer. This shaitan, that he disobeyed Allah, now he has this capability to whisper in the human's what? Mind and nafs. Okay? And create scenarios in the mind, because remember, we have those powers like the planning powers, you know, that it is in us. Provoke those powers, which is sustaining power, being after the defensive power, and planning powers, and whispers, and tries to provoke us to disobey Allah in different ways. So, when we are now reciting this surah, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, we are now confessing to ourselves, and we are saying this strongly to ourselves, that Ya Allah, Qul, say, Allah is, actually when you say, even though that Rasulullah is saying these words, but you're saying to yourself, you're saying to your soul, I'm seeking refuge to the Lord of the people, to the one who is the owner of the people, to the one who is the God of people, from every aspect of life and sustenance, the work that I do, you know, and the guidance that I receive, I follow Allah. From Malik, from the economical aspects and money that I make, I follow to be halal the way that He wants me to live. And Al-Ilah al-Nas, from every aspect of worship, I only get my orders and live in the style of my life according to this one and only entity. And I am seeking refuge to you, Allah, from the whispers of shaitan, who wants me to get away from this path, get away from obedience to Allah. من الجنة والنار يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. This entity, this shaitan, continuously tries to whispers and twist our minds with one look, with one word, with one act, with one hunger. In any way, he has sworn to enter from left and right and up and down and back and front, from every angle possible. Satan is so aware of your and I and you weaknesses, okay, in regards to bodily needs, soul needs, whatever needs inside. He's aware of it. He's very smart and aware. He has that capability. Many times, first of all, he wants to destroy your prayers. Okay? That's why that you see lots of thoughts and thinkings come right as soon as that you're starting your prayers, right? Because he does not want you to remember Allah. Because someone whose their salat is not focused and is not with Allah, they have not done aqamatul salah. They have not raised, they have not established salat. Because salat is the base that has to take us from one salat to the next salat. What? In salat. Like we have to be in salat, from one salat to the next salat, in salat. We have to be in obedience to Allah in everything we do. So if our salat is not with the focus with Allah Azza wa Jal, and shaitan keep on bringing thoughts, and Ayatollah Bahjat tells one person, asks Ayatollah Bahjat, Ayatollah, what should I do so that I be in remembrance of Allah continuously? Always. And Ayatollah Bahjat said, work on your salat. Work on your salat. Because shaitan is continuously coming in your salat to make you to not to think of Allah. And go to your mind, go to the other things. As soon as you see that this is happening, come back to the focus. He's not going to leave you alone. He's going to keep on doing that. But fight with him. Why do you think that in the front of the masjid, that place is called mihrab? Mihrab means the place of battle. It comes from harb. Mihrab means the place of battle. And that's where the Pish Namaz or the Imam stands, right? Because he has to have the most focus, right? He has to be, wow, so much strong in defeating the shaitan to not to come to his mind, so that everybody lining up, they have the, inshallah, the best of the prayers. Then they call that location Mihrab, the place of war. The place of war for who? With who? With the shaitan al-Rajim. Huh? So every one of us, if we work on our salat, then this waswas al-khannas in our sadr, and of course sadr, you know, we think of it's like a chest, right? Chest area. Well, you know, we may think that our intellect and all this is in our brain and all that, you know, because again the front lobe of all that. But there is an era, or the aura area of our body that the soul resides, okay, which again has been called sadr. It doesn't mean it's the chest or this heart is not the one that we're talking about, but it is surrounding us. So the shaitan is whispering in our mind and trying to, what to do? To make us to turn completely away from Allah in remembrance and zikr of Allah. Okay? So let's begin, brothers and sisters, in our prayers. and I'm trying to conclude here, in our prayers, let's make sure that first of all, have a good focused wudu, okay, before we come to the salat. And as we do our wudu, let's think about Allah. Let's remember that when we wash our arms and hands and face, we are facing the wajh of Allah. We are cleansing ourselves from the dirt of every aspect, from what arms, what hands, what feet. And as we go from wudu to the salat prayer time, do not talk to anybody, do not watch TV, do not get disturbed. Keep that focus going until you come to the salat and place of salat. And establish salat when you say Allahu Akbar. Say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Like that. Okay, you are closing the doors to shaitan. It's like that you created a fortress around you against this regime. Knowing that he's behind every door and window of this fortress, ready to come in. And you with your focus in Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah, and you focusing on what you're saying and what you are relating to Allah, and Allah's presence, and you are not allowing, as soon as possible, because he's all of a sudden finds a crack. And right now that you're saying, especially, Iyaka na'budu, that means I am your servant. He is coming in, and all of a sudden, you think that your mind has gone to, oh my goodness, you know, this morning I was going to my car and then this poor beggar came by the window and he gave me $5. Wow, that was amazing. And while you're sort of enjoying with these good deeds that you done, all of a sudden the Surah Fatiha is done and gone. And all of a sudden you see that your sujood is finished and you're up and you just were thinking about the beggar who you gave money to. And he won already. Shaitan won and gone. And you remember. But I told Abba, don't leave there. Yeah, you got defeated to the first rakah. Don't give up. Continue focus. Fight him. Do the second rakah right. Don't let him come in anymore. Have that sajda with much more power. With more focus. And like, I beat you to the second one or the third one. This is battle, brothers. Continuation of this process makes you stronger and stronger in every other aspect. And Ayatollah Bechah said, if you were able to keep shaitan away in your salat, then you will keep him away throughout the days between the salat. You see? It requires a process of working at it. It just does not come, Ya Allah, give me concentration. You know, keep this shaitan away. That should do. You should do that. But you gotta work away and exercise. So this surah, and I will end here, and inshallah in the other nights we could continue in regards to the Surah Al-Falaq and all, is that, brothers and sisters, Allah teaches us that we depend on Him in aspects that He is our guardian, He is our Lord, He is our guide, He is our sustainer, He is the malik of everything we have. He's the owner of everything we have. Don't become proud of what we have. How much of wealth do I have? What car do I drive? What kind of clothes am I wearing? How many children do I have? Allahu Akbar. These are all amana. These are all tests, brothers and sisters. These are nothing but tests for you to how to use them, how to raise your children, how you use your wealth for what purpose. Okay? And Ilahin Nas. Who do you consider as your God? Who do you get your orders from? Okay? And we seek refuge to this entity. But remembering that the shaitan, Nas and Khannas, is always there to do what? To keep us away from this way of thinking and worship of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this shaitan will penetrate in the hearts of a human and jinn, which is the other entity. Okay, which other tafsir of that is that does not recognize known or unknown, because ins comes from the root of the known people, and also jinn comes from the unknown creatures. Okay, so this shaitan has the power also to penetrate even into the unknown creatures, and Allah has allowed him to do that. For what? For their tests. And shaitan is there for our test. Okay? He is like a weight. You know what weight means? Like when you do bodybuilding, if you do not have a weight to lift, can you build your body? No. Shaitan is our weight. Okay? Allah has put him there so that you can see how strong can we get when we resist against him. When we resist against him, we become stronger believers. But when we don't, and we just let him to take over, we become weaker believers. So may Allah inshallah protect us, guide us, and strengthen us to resist against this waswas al-khannas alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudur an-nas min al-jannati wan-nas. Sadaq Allahu al-aliyyul azim. Salawat